Everyone, welcome back to our show. We had a huge event just going on as of yesterday and the day before. What event was that, guys? Do y'all know what it was? It was something small.
Was it Comic Con?
It was
WWDC?
WWDC, Comic Con. No, it was E3.
No, that wasn't it. It was the Oscars, I think.
It was the Oscars. Well, heck, it was technically the pre-Oscars of the video gaming industry. We were able to see the exciting stuff of Xbox. We were able to see the exciting stuff of PlayStation and Nintendo. Anyway, so continue. I'm just joking, Nintendo fanboys. Welcome to our show. My name is Hill, H-I-L. This is Andrick on my right. We have Mike Games. We're going to break down the podcast and everything into three parts. We're going to start it off with the Xbox, and then we're going to go into the PlayStation, and then in our third part, we're going to go into Nintendo and talk about the developers as well. So, to start off with, we need to get some ideas of what everybody thinks.
Let's not start with me.
Okay, so we're not starting with Andrick by demand, unless you commenters have something that you want Andrick to start off with next time. Please put that in the notes because I would love for him to start off with something. But we're gonna lead off with Mike. Give me an idea, Mike. What did you think about the Xbox?
Well, I think actually all the fans said it best.
Mhm.
Xbox done.
Xbox
I
done?
mean, especially after the PlayStation 4 announcement.
Really?
That's it. It's
Oh my
done.
goodness. Okay, so essentially you're saying that no one's gonna buy an Xbox One? No one at all?
Maybe eventually, but I think it's not gonna have as good of sales as they thought.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, they're looking to push towards a specific crowd. They're looking for the casual gamers. They wanted people to, latch onto this new type of technology where you can just speak to your home entertainment system and it just does things for you. And then when they came to E3, then they were trying to cater to the gamers, which Greg said last time, as did you, that's where they were going to come with it, and they were going to appeal to the gamers. Did they appeal to the gamers?
I think they did a decent job. They did show exclusives. I mean, they do have quite a few exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
I think they talked about like 10 or 12 exclusives. So, I mean, they're doing okay, but some of those exclusives, I still don't give a shit about.
Can you give me an example?
Let's see. As far as the Xbox One exclusives, new Halo, don't care. First-person shooter.
Okay, look,
I think the Halo fans would disagree.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Mike doesn't like first-person shooters, so
Yeah, that's why.
yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Halo, don't care. Minecraft.
And this is what's crazy because you're a big Xbox advocate.
I was until all the bullshit that they came out with.
So they lost you.
Yeah, they really lost me.
All right. Before we even get to the price, was it that the content is something that you were not sold on?
No, I think it's the whole DRM thing, the whole DRM restrictions and the price.
Okay.
I mean, for what they're doing, they shouldn't have, come out with a $499 console.
Right.
And I mean, I think it's also putting off a lot of, I have a lot of friends that are in the military. I think it's putting them off too. I mean,
That's
whenever
a
they're
good point.
stationed off somewhere.
Wow.
I mean, if they're, in the sandboxes, they call it.
Right.
There's no internet over there. They can't play.
Right. I never thought of it that way. Huh. That's interesting. Or even like what I was dealing with for the longest. You remember I didn't have internet for 2 days because they had to rebuild like the box out in the back and take out wiring and change everything because it was older wiring.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to play Xbox One at all if I happened to have had it. So that's really tough. So what my point is that there's people out there that just don't have that great internet until someone comes out and rebuilds it,
Yeah, and it's not only the internet. I think, all our military servicemen and
Right.
women, they're just SOL with Xbox
Right.
done. I mean, sorry, Xbox One.
Xbox done.
Because the internet connection.
Right.
2, also the restrict like the region.
Okay, the region
So
restrictions.
you're only gonna be able to play the games from that specific region.
Right.
Isn't
Military.
that's what it does right now, though, right?
Well, see, with PlayStation, they said there aren't going to be.
Well, I
any
mean
games,
that's the
so-
future console. I'm saying, but the Xbox 360 right now is still region locked, I believe.
Maybe.
He's just piling it on. That's
No,
what
no,
it is.
I'm just saying though, it's the same thing you're getting right now as
Okay.
far as that goes.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong.
Okay.
Correct
All
me.
right. Well, in any other negatives that you can think of before I have a good
Well, I
point?
mean, the good things were, you know, the exclusives, and
Right.
I mean, I think they really also polished off their controller a lot more.
Okay.
So their controller's cool. The bad, it was pretty much everything else. I
Really?
mean, there was, you know, the always online, the system check. Well, okay, not always online, but the system checking in every 24
For
hours.
every 24 hours.
You know, no borrowed games. You could give it to a friend, but you know, you could only give it once. But then what if your friend that originally bought it wants it back? They're
Right.
SOL.
Right.
You have to buy it again.
Right.
You know, and then the price, $4.99 for a overhyped cable box.
But you get
For
a
a
year of
top box.
Xbox Gold.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would challenge you on a lot of positives. Just because I want to be that guy. Okay.
Please do.
This is a new type of technology that's coming into a lot of people's homes where you can speak to your home entertainment system and it can do different things for you.
Right.
All right. And it does it on the fly and it does it very well.
Supposedly.
Okay, we're going to
You have to-
assume
you
that
have-
it works.
Well, I don't want to get the assumption.
You know
Hey,
what happens
it's
when
Hey,
you're
Microsoft.
you didn't
It's
start
Microsoft.
you didn't start off, so I'm going to have my point
No,
first.
It's fine.
And I'm not a very huge Microsoft fan by any means. Not Xbox fan, not a Microsoft fan. But I'm going to try to defend them because I believe that the idea of the technology that they're working with is very innovative and it's going to be groundbreaking if they actually effectively pull it off. Now the thing is that the market that they're going after is not aware of this Xbox One, first of all. Second of all, they don't know what it can do. Third, do they even care? That's the tough thing. I envision, especially due to the price and what PlayStation 4 has competitively priced it at, their system at, they're gonna have to run like a lot of commercials. They're gonna have to do a lot of advertisement just to get the word out there
Yeah,
and demos.
I think overall the gamer is going to have both systems. I mean, regardless.
Okay.
But I think that they're going to actually catch up, kind of like PlayStation had to
Right.
catch up previously. I think this is going to be them now.
Well, you remember. Okay, so Xbox One is essentially what PlayStation 3 was at the time, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think they kind of went a step in reverse. you
And
know?
one of the toughest things that they had to deal with at the time is the negative press that they weren't selling. And that's the last thing that Microsoft wants to have. First of all, Windows 7 is outselling Windows 8, right? Or it's more out there than Windows 8 is, something like that. I didn't really
Yeah.
look at the numbers.
People just don't like Windows 8, is the point.
Yeah, so they didn't like Windows 8. And then you have your Xbox One, let's say it just doesn't do well. That negative press kind of piles on everything. Heck, Apple knows very well how negative press kind of works. And Microsoft, if they run into that same thing, because the Xbox is essentially their iPhone. It's their baby that's going to really push their, I would say a lot of their company forward. It's their new generation.
That's true. And, you know, as far as the negative press, how are they handling it? Being typical Microsoft.
Thank you. That's my next point. That was.
Oh, yeah, not connected? We have a system for you. It's called Xbox 360. No, it's called PlayStation 4.
Exactly. So what Microsoft said is, if you have a problem with always being connected, go and buy an Xbox 360. Go buy a previous generation console.
I think they've been up on the top for too long that, you know, they just don't care about, you know.
That's a good point. Yeah. So maybe they're so confident in their own abilities and the Xbox One and how it performs, or maybe how well the Xbox 360 performed, that they're kind of becoming a little elitist, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the same thing happened with PlayStation. You know, they came off the PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah, they thought they were the
thinking
greatest.
they were the big shit, and
Right.
people were just going to spend $600 on a system. And I think they at the time were like, get 2 jobs, you know, to get it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was like they had this elitist type thing, and now Xbox is coming off. They're seeing sales coming out of the roof. Even now, Xbox 360 is selling really well.
Right.
It's beating PlayStation 3, and every month it's always a top seller. So yeah, they have that impression of like, well, we're gonna take this dick, shove it down your throat, and you're gonna like it. So enjoy.
Sorry for the such
And
vulgarness.
smile.
No.
Smile.
Well, and what I think is interesting too is that these marketing folks of these companies, I think they're missing the point because this is not the first rodeo that we've dealt with when it comes to game console releases. We've seen certain game consoles fail. Nintendo's failed. I wouldn't say fail. Okay, they staggered. Nintendo staggered. Xbox has staggered before. Well, they're probably going to stagger now. PlayStation has staggered before with their PlayStation 3.
All of them have done it.
And no one learns from history. Nobody learns from these historical mistakes, and it drives me crazy.
PlayStation did learn from their mistakes, but we'll get that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that point in a moment, right? Are you ready yet?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's only because they try to do something different every time, and they try to force something down the consumer's throat that they don't want.
And okay, and that ties into something else I want to point out. Is like I believe that what Xbox is trying to do is that a lot of technology companies, they want to be they have a difference. They try to either be different or they try to innovate.
Right.
You know, and one of the problems of being different is that you can just alienate your core customers, like the gamers.
Of course.
And it's pretty apparent that's what Xbox is doing.
And Nintendo's learning that lesson right now.
Yeah, Nintendo's okay. We're gonna get to them in just a moment.
I'm just saying, it's there. It's happening.
And I actually commend Microsoft for what they're trying to do, but I think they just try to do too much too fast. I think things are heading to, what Microsoft is trying to do, but I think they just did it a little too soon, too fast, too much.
I would argue that they are doing it towards the wrong market. Because the technology that they have where you can speak to it and it can recognize your body temperatures and your muscles and all of that, I don't think that the people that are focused on home theater and entertainment, I don't think they care.
Well, I'm talking in regards to the whole DRM and internet. I think they are, the Connect and all that, that's amazing. But I think, with what they're trying to do with the publishers, with the whole DRM, eventually I think it's going to go that route.
Right.
But I think they're just trying to do it a little too fast. And
like Windows 8.
Yeah.
They tried to force everybody in that system. When it comes to me and how I thought about their presentation, like, as far as their games, like, the presentation itself just seemed so, like, here's another game, here's another game, here's another game. And it was great that you were like, hey, you wanted games? Here are games.
Yeah.
And it just kept throwing it out there.
Well,
and
that's what PlayStation did as well. So.
Well, I'll get to that one. But I just felt like they were just like, you wanted games, here are games. And they just kept throwing it down your throat. And here's an exclusive. And it just felt like there was no heart,
Right.
Like, whereas, they should have even made the case for having the Kinect, making it that point of, well, we're making you buy Kinect, but here is a game that you're going to want to deal it with.
Basically relating it to their whole technology.
Yeah. So, like, I know a lot of you guys don't use Kinect when you play Call of Duty or Battlefield, but here's an option.
But this is how it's going to change your life.
Yeah, this is how, and they kind of did that. And I know a lot of people wanted games, and that's what they did. But at the same time, they were like, here's a price point. And what a lot of people, and some people are mentioning it on the internet, is that it does include the Kinect where the PlayStation does not.
Right.
So it has a camera, it has that $100 piece, which if you go buy a Kinect right now, it's like $115 or something like that. So that's why it's there. And you are getting this extra piece of technology, but they should not force it down your throat. They should give you the option of being like, hey, if I just want the system and the controller, here, that it would bring it down $100. It would be the same price.
Right.
Yeah.
It's because they're forcing that camera down your throat that's why it's $100 more.
That's a good point.
I would make a point of that. I believe that after maybe their initial release, when they realize that they're not going to sell as much as they hoped for, they're probably going to give like a second system, one that does remove that extra hardware. So
I don't think that'll happen. And the reason I don't is because the whole premise right now is an all-in-one.
Right.
It's the Xbox One, all-in-one type thing.
Right.
If they take that away, then it kind of defeats their whole premise of the.
It could be a marketing plan. I mean, they could say, okay, this is all we have at first. See whoever buys it, because in business or in marketing, what you try to do is you try to get people to buy like at the highest price, the best product, and then after it kind of lags, then you come out with these other versions that are at cheaper points to get these laggers.
I disagree that on 2 points because one, no matter which company, if you look at, there's an introductory price of something. Mm-hmm. There's a high-end price of something.
Right.
So Nintendo did it, and Nintendo did it, but they had the option PlayStation, I guarantee that $399 price is just for the core system. It's probably very minimal memory, and it's just a controller. But I bet you they come out with another console that has a camera and has more memory and probably a year PlayStation Plus. And that's probably gonna be $499, and they're not saying it right now because it's E3,
right?
And they're
and they want to stick it to Microsoft.
Yeah, they're on the hype right now of $399. Everybody's like, oh yeah, woo woo. But I guarantee you, the real true gamer is going to want to pay that $499 price for that camera, for that PlayStation Plus, and that better memory.
It actually just came out, so the PlayStations actually have the same amount of memory as the Xbox One. It's gonna be 500 gigabytes, same as Xbox One. And the PlayStation Eye is going to be measly $59 if you want it.
No, but I'm saying they'll come out with it all in one, and I can almost see that they'll have one with like a terabyte.
You mean as far as PlayStation?
Yeah, as far as PlayStation.
So, well, going back to your assessment, you're basically saying that the gamer is going to want to get the Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the fence and you're waiting for Microsoft to sell you, if you're one of those people, and I guess Mike was one of them, that they just drop the ball and then let you down on every level, especially when it comes to DRM and stuff, which I totally agree. Like, it sucks. Knowing that the developers are not forcing that down, like if PlayStation would have come out with it as well, it would have taken a lot of the heat off of Xbox, because they're like, okay, well they're making, the game makers are making them do this. Obviously that's not the case. Xbox is making the case of like, we're trying to get more money.
Do you ever believe that they may just rescind their whole DRM idea? Do you think they ever?
Yeah, I promise. But by then the flack will be so up that just simply. I mean, and PlayStation has the same rule now where their DRM stuff is left up to the developers.
Right.
It was that way with EA. You had to buy online pass. It was just the way they did it. They were like, hey, it's your game. You do with it what you want. We just are the system that you play it on.
Which actually also, some people don't know what DRM is, so you guys want to kind of explain?
Digital rights management is what it stands for.
It initially started out as on the PC, and to give you an example, you can look at Steam, you can look at Origins through EA, and basically they wanted you to be able to play their game through their system, and partly the reason why is to overall to remove piracy. To stop piracy. That's one thing. Can you think of any other things? Maybe just
piracy.
Yeah, maybe piracy.
Yeah, maybe to have more secure connection from a business standpoint, from a company speak standpoint.
Get money.
Well, to get money, and also retention rate. And basically, retention rate means that you can always have a customer come back and buy more stuff from you. But with a console, and y'all know my point before, like, it's kind of redundant to have a DRM on a gaming console, because the whole purpose of a gaming console is so you can keep buying things through that game.
Of course.
I can't defend that. As y'all can see, I'm like tiptoeing around the whole DRM idea because I don't understand it or what their reasoning is. But with the little time that we have left talking about Xbox, let's at least talk about the games that came out that they're announcing. Anything that you were really excited about that they presented, or anything you think of?
Well, I'll go with this. I mean, I feel like Microsoft, when I was watching the presentation, they made me into a douchebag. And I say that meaning it so well. I mean, maybe I was already one, but they just left this bad taste in my mouth. Like with every game, like Rise, I
liked Rise. I thought it was wonderful.
The guy even came out later and was like, it's not a quick time event, but every time you did an execution, it was a quick time. You just call it what it was. It was a quick time event. Yeah. And it was every fight.
Right.
It was every scene.
That's true. Okay, that's
I was a little worried
It was
about that.
really annoying, and he tried to come out and clarify it later. He's like, well, you'll get these prompts. Okay, a prompt is a quick time event. It's like, well, you get different quick time events then. So that's the only thing, is that you're opening up different quick time events, and it sounds bad. I understand he's trying to do the public spin, but really, honestly, it was a quick time event.
Not to go too far off of this, but it's kind of interesting because Rise would be like game of the year quality if they just removed the quick time events. Just make it simple hack and slash.
Like it was boring too. The story didn't seem intriguing to me. It was just like, hey, Roman guys, like, okay, well, go watch Gladiator.
Right. I guess you didn't want to see another 300 type of.
It seemed like a cool idea. I mean, kind of taking the whole God of War,
I seen it like this. So it uses this over the shoulder camera that was introduced by like Resident Evil 4, and you make it into a more of a melee kind of game, which nobody's done really just yet. And I thought that was kind of unique. It was a different angle on it, and that's why I felt like it was going to make it successful. But hell, just like you said, every kill was a quick time event, and it just kind of takes you out of it. You're more. I don't really want to watch a game. I really want to play a game.
Yeah,
you know?
I actually, and I'm probably one of the few out there that will say this, that I was actually intrigued when it was just a Connect game,
Right.
because if it actually worked on that level where it was that 1-to-1, I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, honestly, it's probably just a niche crowd that would try it. And I'm probably one of those people who would be like, yeah, you know, if it works as well as they say it will, then I'd be willing to do that. But you know, honestly, it just seems like a generic fighter game to me.
Well, I mean, as a developer though, like if you're going to make a game on the Xbox One, you might as well just go all the way in. You know,
well, I'm
go with Connect, just go with everything, because you already drank the Kool-Aid. You know, you bought into their technology, so don't like kind of go in and half-ass it.
It's so better.
Like, okay, we still want to salvage our game, but we want to put
and I feel that's what they did, is like somebody came up to him and be like, hey, excuse me,
right,
change it.
And that's the problem. Well, that's something that Nintendo faces every day, that these developers kind of half-ass it, you know, because they want to save they still want to be able to sell their game because they're not totally confident in the technology, even though they have a unique idea that they should just exercise and go all the way in on. But we'll get to them in a moment.
Right.
we keep saying that should be the name of this show. Is we'll get to it in a moment.
And just a real quick, because I mean, Metal Gear was showed on it, and I at the very beginning, it actually won me over later. But everybody was saying how beautiful it looked in the beginning. I thought it looked awful, but as it went on, it got a lot better. And
you know, I was actually kind of scared when they showed that, because they came out firing with, you know, exclusives, and then they showed Metal Gear. I'm like, oh shit, really? That's gonna be an Xbox One exclusive?
And it was,
but then later on,
Kojima wanted to do that.
Yeah, I was like, Kojima wouldn't do that.
That's a whole Japanese culture there. He would never disgrace himself that way. But you know, Metal Gear, Sunset Overdrive was amazing by Insomniac. I thought that, you know, it was like Team Fortress 2. Which I was really looking forward to, like on the consoles.
It's a really interesting take. Yeah, it's I seen it more as kind of like a Crackdown.
See, I didn't see that. Well, I mean, only because they didn't really show any gameplay. They showed a trailer. You know?
Okay,
so
maybe that's what I took from it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fun though. I mean, it looked like something I would just. I love those guys, even though Fuse was awful. And the one thing that I was actually surprised that I liked, and a lot of people didn't, was Dead Rising 3. It wasn't as over the top as the other ones were, which had a problem.
Wait, it's got negative press? Really?
Yeah, there's some people who are just like, it's not as fun as like 1 and 2, because you know, you can make these it was a lot more fun. It seemed like it didn't seem so.
Have they played Dead Rising 3 yet? Is it out already?
No.
Exactly. So they need to show them until it goes out.
But I mean, the trailer that they showed, the gameplay they showed, was very serious. Like it wasn't very.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't as over
It's not
top.
as whimsical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but I was actually excited. I'm a zombie person.
Same here.
Throw a zombie in front of me, I'm going to kill it, and whether it's with a plant or anything else. And speaking of plants, there was I was off. I was so close. I was so close with Angry Birds on my call.
Rovio with your prediction, yeah.
But yeah, I should have just went over
with the pop cap.
And I actually am kind of excited about that game.
Okay, yeah, PopCap, y'all came with it. I guess y'all took the amount of money that you made with the first Plants vs. Zombies and really established it in this game, which was the right thing to do. And it was amazing.
They brought the thunder with it, because I was like, I want to play that game.
You guys came with it. Oh my goodness. Was there any video on Peggle 2?
No, I think that's just they just said Peggle 2 was coming.
Yeah.
They didn't say what system or if it was iOS or Google or whatever.
That's how intense it's going to be. They're still working on it.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it that addicting.
Yeah,
they're trying to figure out
but they don't have to worry about that. They're all their games.
They're bringing psychologists in so they can make you just spend more and more money on them.
And I mentioned earlier the Halo announcement.
Yeah, you weren't excited about it. I mean, I was expecting something from Halo. Yeah. So it was.
And it wasn't the movie or the TV series this time. It was actually a game. So, and that's what I brought up last time, that they needed to show a game. And
well, they just said Halo. They didn't even say a number after it or anything like that. They showed
Halo. Just like the little preview trailer.
Yeah, and it was just like that's a year or two away. So it was just.
But it was still good enough to get all those diehard Xbox fans.
Every time there's an Xbox, there's going to be a Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Titanfall, Quantum Break.
Quantum Break looks good. I think the concept's a little weird.
I was not. I still don't like that game, even though I love those guys. I was not a fan of that game.
I'm gonna give him a chance because
I'll buy it. Here's my money. I'm gonna play it. But I have a feeling I already know where that game's going. So.
That's why I always feel like your criticism is warranted, because you will buy the game to support him anyway, even though if it's just not a good game.
Yeah, if it's guys I believe in, I give them a chance. It's like having a favorite musician or having a favorite author. Like, you come up with this weird concept, I'm gonna give you a shot. But
right. So what you're saying is those developers don't give you the game for free. Excuse me. Anyway, any other games you're excited about?
A lot of people were actually excited about Killer Instinct.
I was.
You're a fighter.
I'm a fighting game fan, but you know what?
It looked cheesy.
Okay, yeah, I was watching the trailer again, and first of all, as a fighting game, if you're gonna create a fighting game, don't make it exclusive. That's the first mistake. Okay, because
Xbox made that happen. Though.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
That was Rare. I mean, Rare was like, yeah.
Well, Rare slapped their name on it, I guess, just to provide the characters, but they're not the ones that's actually making it, which is interesting. It's developed by another company, and I forgot the name. I just seen it. Sorry. But first of all, don't make it exclusive, because if you're going to make it a competitive fighting game, then you have to make it open to all different mediums. But I'm kind of reluctant to say that, because maybe they're just making it for fun. Yeah. But that's where the real money comes in, is to make it a competitive fighter.
Well, here's the deal, and I know you're probably going to play it and love it because you're a fighter, and I'm not, but apparently they're supposed to be giving that away for free, but they're giving you one character.
Right.
It was like, really, guys?
I think it's like Jago.
Okay, here's Street Fighter 4, and you got Dazzle, and that's all you get.
And actually, I think that's exactly where it's headed. It's gonna be a DLC. And I think that's actually where things are going to be headed in the future.
Just go all in, though. I mean, if you're going to give something away for free, don't half-ass do it. Like, give me one character. It's probably going to be the worst character.
Well, isn't it going to be like? And I didn't really read much into it because I was busy watching the graphics and the video itself. But isn't it going to be like free to play? Like,
well, the game's going to be free, but then it's. The way they're going to make their money is you're going to buy the other characters. They haven't announced how much that's going to be, so the game's going to be free. You get, I think it was Jago.
Unlock everybody for $60.
Pretty much, yeah. But I think that's where I was headed in. Is I think this is where games are going to head. This is going to be the trial version of the game.
Right.
And of course it's Xbox.
And if you like it, then you'll buy the rest of the characters.
I don't. I hate to see it go that way, and I feel like it's a very EA thing to do, even though it's not EA.
Okay, well, heck, y'all are talking from like a gamer standpoint. Could you imagine as a developer that that company says, "Hey, you can only make a trial version, and if people like it, then they'll buy the rest of your game." So that kind of takes you out of a lot of money if you just don't have a good enough game.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll come out with a full version of that game you can buy. I just have a feeling that, but like, hey, you can buy the whole game for $60.
Okay, well, just I guess in the nostalgia purposes, a lot of people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
And that's why I was attracted to it at first, and then I started really watching it. And I was like, would I even play this again? I don't know. So, what we're going to do is we're going to pause it here for the Xbox One, and then we're going to go over to the PlayStation One. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Definitely click on part 2 to get to the PlayStation.